Okay, guys. Today we are going to discuss about a new concept here. What is that? Language interoperability. Language interoperability. What is language interoperability? Uh, do you remember this, guys? In the starting classes, we learned it is an ability of consuming the code implemented in one .NET language from other .NET languages. Guys, do you remember this? We already discussed in the starting classes the process of consuming the code that is implemented in one .NET language from other .NET languages. Okay, at what? It's a process of consuming the code that's implemented in one .NET language. Okay, so so how do we check this? How do we perform this particular thing? Fine. How do we do that? Let's see. Here. Access Demo 1 is a C# project. Converted into an assembly. Okay, now I want to consume it from this from Access Demo 3. What is it? A VB project. Are you guys clear? This is what we are going to do now. What is that? Access Demo 1 is a C# project. Yeah, we already implemented this. No, it was compiled into an assembly, and this assembly, I want to consume it from Access Demo 3, which will be a VB project. So guys, watch it. I'm adding a VB project in this. Day before yesterday, I said, you remember, we can add a project of any .NET language. So let me add a new project in this. New project. Yeah. Selecting VB. select VB, again console. You see now console application Visual Basic project, .NET Core only. Okay, so it's a VB project. So here I'm naming the project as Access Demo 3. Access Demo 3. Yeah. What this, guys? This is a VB project. By default, here also we have a program. Okay. Here also we have a class called program. Program.vb. Not serious, guys. It is VB. Understood? So this is not C#. It is a VB class. Now understand a few things here. Okay, fine. Now, understand some few important points here. What? VB is not case sensitive, guys. VB is not case sensitive. So you can write the code. You can write the code in any language, any case, uppercase, lowercase, it doesn't matter. You can write the code in any case. Okay, you can write the code in any case. No uppercase, lowercase, no restriction. So nothing. You can write the code in any case. Point number two. Point number two. What is point number two? Here, we don't have semicolon terminators to end a statement. We don't have semicolon terminators to end a statement. Every statement should be a new line, no semicolons. Point number three. No curly braces representing a block. Okay? There are no curly braces representing a block. Then how? Every block will be having a matching end statement. Suppose you write a class, there will be end class. If you write a if, there will be end if. Okay, if we are a for, end for. Like this, for everything, there will be a matching end statement. Understood, huh? Next. So what is it? Not case sensitive, no semicolon terminators, no curly braces. Now, okay. If you just understand, by default, when you open a project, it will add you something called as a module. It will add you something called as a module. What is this module? A module, module is something like a static class in C# here. Module is something like a static class in C#. And we don't have this modules concept. Basically, we don't have. Basically, we don't have anything called modules in C#. So that's why what it. Let's not discuss what is the module. We are not learning VB. Our intention is not to learn VB also. So it's simply deleting this program.vb. And now better add a class. Add a new item. In VB only we have these modules here. Let's go for a class. Let's go for a class. Let's not bother about a module. Give a name to it. And here, I'm just giving the name as test.cs. I'm naming the class as test.cs, extension.vb. Guys, watch. Public class test.cs, public class test.cs, end class. There'll be an end class statement. What I wanted to do, I wanted to consume the program class. I wanted to consume the program class methods. We have 5 methods in the program class now, 6 methods. We have defined 6 methods in the program class now yesterday. And yeah, these are the 6 methods that are defined for you inside of the program class now. And guys, what I'm just going to do is, yeah, I want to consume it from C#, VB. Okay. So what I'm telling you, I want to consume that class here. If you want to consume, what to do? Same processor, reference should be added. Now also reference should be added. Come on, add the reference, same processor, right click, add project reference. See, yesterday we added the reference of access demo 1 to access demo 2 now. That's where that is coming in the list here. So directly select it and click on OK. Okay, here also you can see dependencies, assemblies, see access demo 1 reference is added. I can consume. First, I wanted to import the namespace. How to import? If you want to import the namespace, we use using statement now. In C# we use using statement. Here we write imports. Imports access demo 1. And don't write semicolons, be careful. Okay. Now, if you look at this, if you just look at this, I was just importing. Now tell me, guys. Language is unnecessary for you. Language is unnecessary for you. Now tell me, if I inherit now, if at all I want to, if I inherit this class from the class program, if I inherit this class from the class program, how many methods can I call? If I create an instance, how many methods can I call? Can anyone tell me? If I inherit, how many methods can I call? If I create an instance, how many methods can I call? If you inherit, how many? Create instance, one method. Inherit 6. Come on, guys, waiting for your answers. Rahul, you're wrong. You can call all the 6 methods only from the same class. You cannot call from a child class. Roja, 3 what? Simply 3 means when? Inherit, create instance. What your answer? Inherit. What are the 3? Amit, what are the 3? Public, protected. Oh, private can be called. Srikanth, private can be called. Protected, public, and protected internal. You can call. Say. And if I create an instance, you can call only one method. Simple, yeah. Simple. Last class only explained you. If I inherit, what is it? A child class in? If I inherit, child class in another project. Shivashankar, stop your video. If I inherit, it's a child class. It is a child class in another project. If I create an instance, non-child class in another project. Last class I shown you. A child class in other projects can call 3 methods. A non-child class in other projects can call 1 method. We already analyzed it already in the last class. So I'm going to inherit, guys, colon. In VB, if you want to inherit, you cannot simply directly write up the class name. You should first say inherits, and then you're required to specify the name of the class now. What is the class? Program. That's how you should write in VB. Inherits class program. Okay, now? Next. I wanted to write a main method. How do you write a main method, you know? Shared. The shared is equivalent to static in our C#. Shared is equivalent to static in C#. Submain, just void main. Just like a static void main, here we write shared submain. And see, for everything, there'll be a matching end statement. See, class has a matching end class and sub has a matching end sub. Okay? Now here I should create an instance. How to create the instance? This is how we create an instance, guys. Dim obj as new test CS. This is the syntax of creating an instance in VB language. And now you can start calling obj dot. See there, 3 methods you can call. 1, protected. protected internal and public. Console.readline. Console.readline. I want to run this class. I wanted to run the class. Okay. So first set the startup project. Right click, set a startup project. Run the code. You can watch. You're calling access demo 3.exe. What is running? Access demo 3.csc. Protected, protected internal, public. Are you clear, guys? Yeah. Generally, you have a doubt. How VB can understand C#? VB doesn't understand C# yet. How VB can understand C# is a confusion. VB cannot understand C#. VB is understanding CIL code, not C# code. It is CIL code. See, I am from Telugu here. I speak, my mother tongue is Telugu. And your mother tongue is Marathi. Suppose your mother tongue is Marathi. So, you don't know Telugu, I don't know Marathi. But both of us are speaking in English. So, CIL code is like English. I understand English, you understand English. Point clear, guys? Okay. So, that's the key point here. Like, how you can just consume the things. That's the key point, how you can just consume the things here. Fine, guys. Now, in the same way, shall we see the reverse now? Shall we also check the reverse? Guys, watch it. I'm going to create another project, Access Demo 4. And this is going to be a VB project. This will be a VB project. I will write some code, compile it, generate an assembly. And now I want to consume this code from Access Demo 2. Access Demo 2. What is that? Our C# project. Are you clear, guys? Come on, let's do. See, when I was adding a project the day before yesterday, I said, you can add a project of different language. Proven now, na? I add a project of different language. Second important point is, you can add a project of different language, and also you can add a different type of project also, I said you. You can add a different type of project also, I said you. What that? All these are console application projects. Okay. See now, I will add a new project. What type of project here? Select library. And here you'll be finding up here class library. Can you see that? Class library. Okay. So this is a project, what I'm just going to add. And mainly, guys, already said you, class library's extension will be .dll. Remember, these are pure DLL assemblies. These are pure DLL assemblies. Can we run them? These are pure DLL assemblies. Can we run them? We cannot run them. We can only consume them. We can only consume them. Okay. Select this, guys, and click on the next. Click on the next. And now give a name for it. What is the name we are planning? Access Demo 4. Access Demo 4. Click next. Click create. So this is a library project, guys. This is a library. By default, it comes with a class only. But earlier the module came, there is a console application. Yeah, there's a library project. Module won't come. By default, a class comes. So let me write some methods here. See, basically in C# you learned now methods are two types. What are the two types? Value returning methods, non-value returning methods. Where value returning methods are called as generally we call value returning methods as functions in VB, and non-value returning methods are called as subroutines in VB. Value returning methods are called as functions, guys, and non-value returning methods are called as subroutines in VB. In C# we call value returning and non-value returning, but here we just call it as function and a subroutine. Okay, fine. Now, we don't know how to write code in VB now. So because we don't know how to write code in VB, I'll do one thing here. I will first write a method in C#. I will first write a method in C#, and then I will show you how to convert that method into VB. Okay, first we'll write a method in C#, and afterwards I'll tell you converting into VB. Watch. Public string say hello. String name. Return hello plus name. Okay. Now tell me, function or subroutine? It's a function. It is a function. So how do you write public? Guys, watch. Public function say hello, name as string and as string, and function. What is this? Public and public is the same. We are telling you are defining a function. Say hello and say hello. And here you said string name. But in VB, you write as a name as a string. This is how we declare parameters here. Here we write string name, C language style. It's a different style, name as string. What is as string again? This as string is the return type here. Here we have a string return type, and that return type is specified in the last. Are you guys clear? This is a parameter type, and this is the return type. Okay. Now the body, coming to the body is same, guys. Return. Body is same only. Hello. Only thing is, the concatenation operator is ampersand now. Name. That's it. Are you guys clear? Okay. Next. Public void add nums int x comma int y console dot write line x plus y. Console dot write line x plus y. Guys, function of subroutine. Subroutine. Can you tell me how to write this now? Just the first line. Can you tell me how to write the first line? Just the first line enough. For subroutine, no need to write subroutine here. Simply sub is enough. See, already I showed you shared sub main. Just we use only that word called sub, that's all. And int is called integer. Public. Wrong, Srikanth. Just now I said it's a function of subroutine. Public sub, no need to write subroutine. I said you sub, that's all. Sub add nums. Okay. X as integer, y as integer. Value returning or non-value returning? Then why are you telling as void again? Array, that's non-value returning. Nah. Then why are you telling as void again? Yes. That's all. Are you clear? Int is called integer. If it returns a value, then you should say as string. When it doesn't return a value, there's no point of writing as void there. Understood, guys? Do you remember this, guys? Okay, if you want to write this, see, public sub math A as integer, B as integer, by ref C as integer, by ref D as integer, and sub C is equals to A plus B and D is equals to A into B. Guys, observe it. Okay. Watch, guys, I put all the code here. But what did they say? I cannot run this code. This is a DLL. I cannot run this. This is a DLL. I can only consume. Okay. Now, look. Your project is ready. What to do? Convert into assembly. Alright, your project is ready. Convert into assembly. How to convert? By compiling. By compiling. How to compile? Watch. Right click on the project. And here you'll have an option called build. Right click, build. Compiles. See, guys. After compilation, the assembly will generate for you. C# 9, My Solution, Access Demo 4, Bin Debug, Net 5.0, Access Demo 1. You'll get an output window in the bottom. The output window will show you the complete path of your assembly. Are you clear? Done. Well, the assembly is also ready. What to do? Add a reference to Access Demo 2. Add a reference to Access Demo 2. Browse. Guys, watch. Yesterday, in our console application projects, we found access demo 1.dll, access demo 1.exe, both exe DLL files we saw na. But today, see, we don't have exe files. What we have is only DLL files. Select, add. Okay. Already, for this project, you added a reference of access demo 1. Now you added a reference of access demo 4. See? Yesterday you done this here and today you done this. You added reference. Both are coming in the list here. Okay? And now add a class in this project. Add a class in this project. Add a class. I'll name the class as test VB. Test VB. Test VB. I'm importing the namespace using access demo 4. Guys, now tell me, I defined 3 methods there. Now how many? 3 methods there. If I inherit, how many methods can I call? If I create an instance, how many methods can I call? I defined 3 methods in class 1. How many? 3 methods are defined in class 1. If I inherit, how many can I call? If I create, how many can I call? Create an instance, how many can I call? These are the 3 methods you defined in class 1 and you want to consume from test VB. So all the 3 in both the cases. All the 3 in both the cases. Why? Because all are public. So if you inherit also, we can call 3 methods. We can, if you create instance also, we can call 3 methods. Okay now? So come on guys, let us do it. I'll directly create an instance. What is the name? Class 1 obj is equals to new class 1. See guys, see the beauty of Visual Studio. Are we consuming C# code? Are we consuming are we consuming VB code or CIL code? Come on fast. CIL code, not VB code. Someone said VB, not VB, CIL. We are sleeping. Very clearly telling you now, we converted to assembly, convert assembly. CIL code is what we are consuming, not VB. Okay. So we are consuming the CIL code, not VB code. And when I'm trying to consume the CIL code, Visual Studio will automatically translate the CIL code into C#. Will automatically translate into C#. Watch it. Add nums. See the signature of the method, guys. It is not showing you VB signature. It is showing the signature in C#. See the math method. See the say hello method. Are you guys clear? To consume VB code in C#, I don't require to know VB at all. Why? VB code will automatically translate to C# here. Okay? Add nums 100, 50. Next. String str is equals to obj dot say hello of some name. Console dot write line str. Okay, next int sum is equals to 0 and product is equals to 0. Then obj.math, I'm passing A as 100, B as 25, and then I'll say ref sum, comma, ref product. Remember, the result will come into sum and product now. Console dot write line, sum of the given numbers is plus sum. and product of the given numbers is product. Okay. And now you can run this code. So come here. See now 2 references added, 2 references are listed here. The name of the class is test VB. Got it, guys? Any doubts? What should I repeat? What should I repeat? 45 minutes class, you want me to repeat, huh? So if you have a doubt somewhere, I will tell you what doubt you have, I'll clarify that. Without that repeat means, what should I repeat, guys? Sir, I have a doubt here. Tell me, I'll clarify that. Praveen, I'm talking to you only. Which string line? Which string line, yaar? I want that string line. What is that? In program. This one. Value returning method. The method is value returning. So you call say hello. It returns a value and I captured it and printing the result to you. Array, method is value returning. Yeah, return type is string. When the return type is string, how do you capture it? Declare a string variable, capture it, and afterwards print it. That's all. Value returning methods we called till now so many times we called value returning methods. Okay, fine guys. See, if you want to consume from other projects, you can consume from other projects. If it is present on a different machine, do you have access to that machine, Deepali? If you have access to the machine, you can add a reference. If you don't have access to the machine, you cannot add a reference. Without having access to a machine, what you will consume? If you are someone will write a code and you will consume a file. I will write some code here. Will you access my code? So tomorrow you write some code and someone can consume your code. You need to give access. If access is given, consumption can be done. Without giving access, consumption cannot be done. Are you clear? Network here, in the network, if you are in the network, they will be having access. If they are not having if they are not in the network, no access. That's all. If all the systems are in the network, then you can access. But you don't have a connection with that system at all. That is somewhere, I cannot add access. I cannot. You are at your home, I'm at my home here. You are at your home and I'm at home. Do we have a network, Rahul? Do we have a network? Then you cannot access my assembly now. If you and me are connected in a network, then you can. In a company, you and me are working. Your system has you have an assembly, yeah, LAN connection in some office, yeah, in an office. In a company, you're working on one system. You can give the DLL, you can send it, you can send DLL in a mail. They can download, copy it, and use it. That's all. You send me your DLL, you send me in a mail. If you send your DLL in a mail, I can add a reference and consume. That's it. See, to add the reference, the DLL, the assembly should be on your computer or in a remote computer for which you have access. Otherwise, not possible. That's all. Okay, guys. Seriously, please keep reading this. Yeah, just give me 5 minutes. Yesterday, guys, don't know whether this climate change or something. Throat is like my throat is swelling up. Lot of I'm not able to even drink water. That much of congestion I have in the throat. Just give me some 5 minutes of time. Okay, I will again. Meanwhile, keep reading here. All of you have notes now. Keep reading this language interoperability. Just 5 minutes time, guys. Am I clear? 5 minutes. I have a lot of throat congestion. Just 5 minutes. Okay, guys. Fine. So fine. So everyone understood about language interoperability now? Fine. Next. Okay, the next topic is the next topic is like guys, all of you. I just want to tell you actually. We have a concept called multi-threading, guys. Actually, multi-threading is there. But today, this multi-threading is outdated, and in the place of it, task parallel libraries came. Task parallel libraries are there. It is outdated, and we use task parallel libraries. Task parallel libraries are in your code. We will discuss on task parallel libraries. I'll explain you about task parallel libraries. But unfortunately, guys, because multi-threading is outdated, that is not in your that is not in the course schedule. We have the advanced topic task parallel library in the course schedule, but we don't have multi-threading in the course schedule. So what I suggest you is, you cannot understand task parallel libraries directly. You cannot understand task parallel libraries directly until you have a knowledge on multi-threading. Until you have a knowledge on the multi-threading, you cannot understand the task parallel libraries perfectly. So what is my suggestion is, to cover both the two topics, what did I do? I was just posting up the multi-threading videos to you. Nearly there are 7 videos on multi-threading, guys. There are 7 videos on multi-threading. So starting from video number 38 to 44. 38 to 44. Okay, there are 7 videos on multi-threading. So from today onwards, every day, focus on one multi-threading video. Are you guys clear? From today, every day, focus on one multi-threading video. Okay, just focus on one multi-threading video. So if you are just updating with multi-threading, I will teach you the advanced topic, that is task parallelism for you. Yeah. Okay. Starting from 38 video to 44 video. 38 to 44. Okay, guys. So just keep watching the appropriate videos. Okay, I will teach you. I will go for teaching you task parallelism. Okay, guys. Fine. Okay. The next topic is see, guys, we discussed like a class is a collection of members now. A class is a collection of members. And the members of a class are 8 different types, 8 different. If you recollect, we discussed about this in the earlier classes. These are the 8 members. And till now, what we learned? Fields, methods, constructors. So still we have all these things. Finalizers, properties, indexers, event, and deconstructors. So let me complete up this year. Finalizers, properties, indexers, deconstructors. Events we'll be learning in ASP.NET. Events we will be learning in ASP.NET. I think the scheduled date is 9 or 10 year for ASP.NET. So yesterday I was speaking, it's not from Monday, from 9 or 10 they scheduled ASP.NET. So guys, events I will cover you in the ASP.NET classes. So right now we will just deal with finalizers, properties, indexers, and deconstructors. Let us complete this, guys. Okay. So after all these things, yeah, guys, I'm sorry, I just ignored that. In how many ways can I consume a class from other classes? In how many ways can I consume a class from other classes? 2 ways now. Now all of you read these 3 question and answers. All of you read these 3 question and answers, guys. Are you guys clear? Okay. Live project training is available here. Contact Rambabu. Contact Rambabu. When is it scheduled? I don't know. But I hope so. That's available. Okay. Fine. So it's about the 3 things. We can consume it and the same way how to restrict it. I'm just telling you. Next, finalizer or a destructor. What is this finalizer or destructor is? Say, a destructor, see, a constructor is a special method in a class now. Same way, destructor is also a special method in a class. A constructor is a special method in a class. We already know that. Same like that, a destructor is also a special method in a class. Just simply speaking, what are we talking? Destructor or finalizer. Just like a constructor special that is a class is sizing the fields and that is required. Of the program. So it is for releasing the memory of an instance. Guys, read it. Constructor is responsible for allocating of the memory. Now, destructor is responsible for releasing of the memory. Constructor is responsible for allocating of the memory, initializing the fields and allocating of the memory that is required. allocating of the memory that is required for execution of the program. A destructor is also a special method that is present in a class, which is responsible for releasing the memory of an instance. Understood? A constructor and destructor works in opposite to each other. Clear? A constructor and destructor works in opposite to each other. One will allocate the memory, one will release the memory. One will allocate the memory and one will release the memory. Okay, next. Both of the methods will be having the same name. That is the name of the class. Create an instance, assign null. I already explained you. That is called as a dereferencing. You create an instance, and after creating an instance, if you assign null, we call it as a dereferencing. Both the methods will be having the same name. That is the name of the class. That is the name of the class in which they are defined. Name of the class in which they are defined. And but to differentiate between each other, memory garbage collect. Okay, analyzer tailed operator. For example, class test. If you write like this, what is it? Constructor. What is this? Destructor or finalize. Guys, read the third point. That's all I'm telling now. Or finalizer, when I say, when you're again asking destructor and finalizer are the same again. Okay. So next. Is created when the instance is created. Destructor is called when the instance is destroyed. Constructor is called when the instance is created. Destructor is called when the instance is destroyed. Okay, I will explain. Wait. Okay, listen to me first. Next. Constructor can have parameters and modifiers, and also overloaded. Whereas destructors cannot have parameters and cannot be overloaded. Are you guys clear? Are specific to a class and will not be inherited. In constructors, I explained you, yeah, constructors are specific to a class, they are not inherited. Now I'm telling you, destructors also same. Both constructors and destructors are specific to a class, will not be inherited. They will not be inherited to child, not be inherited to child classes. Okay, so both of them are specific to a class and they're not going to be inherited to the child classes. Destructors